John Pregulman is a native of Chattanooga and has been photographing Holocaust survivors for a long time. For the past 2 years, from Los Angeles to Tokyo, John has photographed 235 survivors. This project is being done simply to honor and preserve the legacy of the survivors. His giving spirit also means he simply gives the photos to the survivors and their families, as well as the organizations that help him contact the survivors. Welcome to the show, John. And we also want to talk about an organization he started called Kavod. John, welcome. It is so good to have you here. Finally, we got you on the show. And Julie, you've really enjoyed meeting him in the last 30 minutes.
I really have. It's a fascinating idea to me. But what inspired you to do it? You've been doing it for the last 2 years, but had the idea been in your mind for a while?
Yes, well, thank you first for having me on the show to talk about this. About 2 years ago, a friend of mine who runs the Illinois Holocaust Museum in Skokie called me and asked me if I would come do some photos of survivors there. They needed some pictures, but they didn't have a budget. And I had time at the time, so I went up to Chicago. And I thought it was going to be 5 or 10 survivors. It turned out that I took pictures of 65 survivors in one day, in 3 days.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Skokie has more Holocaust survivors than any other place in the world besides Israel, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
I think that's true.
I'm not sure. They do have a lot there.
A lot.
So you're taking the pictures, but then are you also interviewing them and giving them a chance to just talk about their experience?
You know, the experience is not to interview them, but while I'm photographing them, generally they do want to talk about their experiences, and I guess you can see some of the pictures here. A lot of times I do have trouble getting them to take photos because they want to talk.
And they want to, the first thing they're going to show John, and there was a wonderful article that David Cook did in the paper, they want to show that tattoo.
I was going to ask you, because
they want to show that number because they lived, they survived, and they're telling these incredible stories, and we will never forget this generation of people.
We certainly hope that we will never forget, and these photographs will help to ensure that.
Right.
So you're giving them back to the family specifically, or are you also going to share them with any kind of museums throughout the country? Do you have any plans?
No, there's no commercial aspect to this project at all. It is simply to preserve the legacy and to give some dignity to these survivors in their remaining years.
And you're really a self-taught photographer. You have always loved photography.
Yes.
And this is a wonderful way to go back to something you truly love, and you're really making a difference in these families' lives.
Well, I'm trying to, and I just give the photos to the survivors and their families, and then the organizations that help me get in contact with them.
So you mentioned your organization, Kavod. What is that?
Well, during the time that I've been doing these pictures, I started hearing about survivors who are living in poverty in the United States. Approximately 15 to 20% are living in poverty.
Really?
And so I decided that, you know, that was just unconscionable to let that go on after what they've already been through in their lives. So I did start a nonprofit called Kavod, which is about a month old, and we're raising money for survivors, starting in Memphis, where I spend a lot of time, and then hopefully going to expand to other small communities in the South.
Why the name? What does that name mean?
Kavod means dignity, and
Is that a Hebrew word?
Yes. Our mission is to ensure dignity for Holocaust survivors during the remaining years and provide emergency assistance for those that need it.
So the people that you were, the beautiful pictures that we're seeing there, what are we looking at, maybe 10, 12 years left of life or less?
According to the U.S. Holocaust Museum, approximately 10 to 15 years left for survivors. There's about 140,000 survivors left in the United States.
How powerful was it for you to be in a place where, again, you thought maybe 10 to 15 pictures, you took 65, but has it given you a new appreciation for the resiliency of the human spirit?
Well, especially these, like this lady that they just saw lifting the weights. She said to me, "This is why Hitler couldn't stop me, because I'm still strong." She's lifting 20-pound weights, and she's 91 years old.
The woman that we just saw, were those family members she lost in the Holocaust, the black and white photograph that she was holding? I know they're going...
I don't remember which one that was. I think it was a picture of her when she was younger, but I don't remember. But I'm sorry.
No, I'm the one who cut you off. I know some of them were open to talk to you, some of them weren't, and I'm sure it's a difficult line that you don't want to cross. But how many of them were in the same camps? Do you know that?
None of the ones that I have photographed knew each other in the camps, but a lot of them were in Auschwitz. I would say the majority were in Auschwitz.
When I was in high school and we went to Europe and we went to Auschwitz. And it was without a doubt one of the most powerful experiences of my life. You really could not function for the remainder of the day. You didn't want to talk. You didn't really want to eat. It was just really, really an overwhelmingly sad experience to have. And so how great to now see that there is life and hope and people like you for the people who live through that horror.
And John's family, a history of giving in this community, Siskin Preschool, Siskin Rehabilitation
Right.
Hospital. So it's just an honor to have you here, John. I think the world of you.
Thank you very much.
It is Project Kavod, and the phone number that you can reach if you would like to make a donation to Project Kavod, think about it this time of the year especially, is 265-2288. That number again is 265-2288. I would love to have John come on the first of the year, maybe February, and do more pictures.
Yeah, let us help you support it. And before I let you go, if people are out there watching and they wish that you could perhaps photograph someone they know, can they also call that number and advise you of other survivors
Yes,
they know of?
Absolutely. I'm
And-
willing to go anywhere in the country at this point.
And the majority of these people have come and they love America. They just became successful. A lot of these people, they put that behind them and moved on with their lives,
Yeah.
didn't they? It's just incredible stories.
Well, the
of
amazing
resilience.
thing about these people is that I found very, very few that were negative or had any sort of hatred for the German people or what happened to them. Most of them were very positive and go around talking about their experiences in the hope that they can prevent it from happening again.
And let me
Thank
tell you,
you.
one of the best gifts that you can give your kids is go buy the documentary Paperclips
Yes.
from Whitwell, Tennessee. It's still one of the most powerful documentaries I've ever seen.
Thank you. Thank you,
John,
Thank you for
you're
having
first
me.
class, man.
Thanks.
We're back after this.